Hey guys, Caleb here with Steve Meyer's Service today to go over how to properly install a bagger on your Toro Timecutter. Now this bagger tutorial is going to be good for all of your Timecutter models ranging from years 2011 to 2023, which means whether you have a 32, 34, 42, 50, 54, or 60, this video is going to walk you through how to properly install that. So first, let's go over our components that we have here in front of us. We have our bagger boot here on the left. We have the upper tube above it. We have the cap. We have the T-frame with the T-frame support brackets. We have our bags here on the left with the diffuser that goes inside the bagger cap. We have our weights and our mounting brackets for our weights, as well as our manual, which is going to have the installation instructions and the hardware with it. Alright, so now let's go over our tools. Alright, so the tool list for this project is actually really short and simple. All we're going to need today is a ratchet. We're going to need a 5/8 socket, a 9/16 socket, and a 1/2 inch socket, as well as a 9/16 wrench and a 1/2 inch wrench. The nice thing about the bagger installation is that all the hardware at the back of the mower is going to be 1/2 inch, and all the hardware at the front of the mower is going to be 9/16, except for the one 5/8 socket that we're going to need. So that makes this tool list pretty small. Now let's go over how we're going to install it. Alright, so the mower we have here in front of us today is a 2023 42-inch Toro Timecutter. Now, like previously stated, this installation video is going to be good for all Timecutter models ranging from 2011 clear up to 2023, which means 32, 34, 42, 50, 54, and 60-inch Timecutter models. This installation video is going to apply to that. We're going to break the video up into two parts. We're going to do a front half installation and a back half installation. Like previously stated, the back half is going to use all 1/2 inch hardware. The front half is going to use all 9/16 hardware, aside from two bolts that need a 5/8 socket. And makes the installation pretty nice and easy. Allows you to clearly understand where your hardware is going and what hardware you're going to use. So first, let's start off by installing the T-frame, the bagger cap, and the bagger tubes. Alright guys, so now that we're at the back side of the mower, first thing we're going to do is go ahead and install the T-frame, the supporting rods, the sway plate, and the latch rod. That's going to be the rod that holds down the latch to your bagger cap, so that way it's not bouncing all over the place. So the T-frame is going to use these two bolts here. You'll get new hardware, but where these bolt holes are, you're going to install two bolts there. It's also going to have two self-tapping bolts that go in the bottom of it that helps hold and support it. The sway plate is what goes on top here in these two holes. That helps the T-frame from swaying left to right as your baggers fill up with grass and leaves, so it's not pivoting left and right. Then the supporting rods, they are going to go in this opening here, and there's one on the other side. The supporting rods are going to be held in with pins, as is the latch rod. The latch rod is going to go in the top center of the T-frame, and it's going to go straight back. Again, that's what's going to allow you to latch your bagger cap. That way it's not bouncing all over the place while you're mowing. So I'm going to go ahead and install those real quick, and then we can move on to installing the bags, installing the cap, and installing the tubing. Alright, now that we got the T-frame and the supporting hardware installed, now we're going to go ahead and install the bagger cap, the bags, and the boots. I should say the tubes, so the lower boot and the upper tube. So sit tight while we go ahead and install that real quick. Alright, so now for the last step of the back half of the bagger installation is going to be installing the diffuser. The reason that we are taking a minute to go over the diffuser itself in its own dedicated video is for three reasons. One, it serves an important role. Two, it can sometimes be a little confusing on how it's actually supposed to go in there. And 3, we here at Steve Meyer's Service take an extra step when it comes to the diffuser that we think helps you have a better overall user experience. So first off, what it does, the diffuser goes in and it keeps your clippings in the bagger cap and in your bags so that it doesn't overflow out the side. It only goes in one way, which is with the piece angled to the right, and these 2 tabs go in these 2 slots right here. So if you just slide that in the bottom and then slide that in the top and pull on that lid, that'll pop right in place. Now the extra step that we take is going to be installing these little hitch pins. The reason we do this is as you pull on your cap latch, that flexes on this hood just the same way that we installed this diffuser. And so sometimes over time it can end up, this diffuser can pop out every time you undo your lid. So we take these little hitch pins here, we put one in the top, put one in the back, and now the only way it can come out is if you actually take those pins out. So now we are finally done with the back half of the bagger installation. On to the front half. Alright, so we got the mower up in the air now so that we can install our weight mounts onto the frame rail of the mower. One thing to keep in mind, these mounts are directional. So you want the tabs facing up and you want the L shape facing inwards towards each other. If you do not do that, they're not going to fit in the frame rails properly, and you're going to have a heck of a time trying to get them to fit in there and line up and do what they need to. So keep that in mind. L shape facing each other, and the tabs facing up. So these mounts, they're going to go in this hole here, this hole here, here, and here. And like stated, the front half is going to use a 9/16 socket for all 4 of these bolts, so that's where we're going to use our ratchet, our socket, and our 9/16 wrench. So let's go ahead and get them installed. Alright, so now that we got our mounts installed, and yes, I do know that those front bolts are kind of tough to get to, so I do apologize. Unfortunately, I don't design it, we're just here to install it. So now that we have our mounts installed, we're ready to install our weights. One thing to note about the weights is the weight design does change from the 2011 clear up to the 2019 bagger. Uses a different style of weight. 2020 to 2023 uses the style of weight that you're about to see. Another thing to note, 32, 34, and 42-inch models on, when you have this particular style weight that we're about to install, you only install 6 of the 8 weights that comes in the box. It's going to send you 8 because if you had a 50-inch, 54-inch, or 60-inch bagger, you would install all 8 weights. So you don't want to overload the front end because that'll make your rear steering and your rear traction not be as good. So just make sure to install the 6 weights or the 8 weights depending upon which size mower you have. This is the time where we're going to use our 5/8 socket. It has a 9/16 nut on the back side. You stack the weights on there, put the bolt through, tighten it down. So let's go ahead and get that done and we can wrap this project up. Alright, and that was the final step of the bagger installation. Hopefully that was pretty easy for you. I know we didn't talk about the specifics of the hardware. I didn't want to bore you with any of that. I know you got your manual with you that came with the bagger, so if you need any specific details on the hardware, the manual is a great reference for that. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. I will try and answer them as quickly and thoroughly as possible. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe.